Good evening, everybody. Welcome into this latest edition of Unidentified History. And boy, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. We are going to talk about tonight mostly. It is so funny. I thought I had this episode all worked out. I said, all right, you guys know I was just down at Disneyland for a couple days with my son. They had to cash in his 3-day Southern California pass. While I was down there, one of the days he went into the park and I didn't. And I said, all right, I'm going to go through this UFO file stuff, see what the Department of War has come up with. Is there any meat to this? I've seen a few things. I knew a few things and I had that kind of worked out. And I told DJ and Tunney yesterday, I said, I'm going to go online and talk about some of this stuff, but I was too tired to do that yesterday. So we pushed it off to today. Lo and behold, our good friends at the United States government and the Department of War decided to drop what they're calling tranche 2 of the UFO file releases. And I spent quite a bit of time today going through that second tranche. I listened in on Doomer Friday, heard what those guys had to say. I have talked to some other people. And we are going to do on this episode, we're going to cover as much of this as we can. And we're going to tie in some other stuff. And we're going to endeavor to answer the question that is on so many of our minds. Is this really disclosure? Or are we just being epically trolled? Hint, probably the latter. But we're going to get into that as we go along here. I want to welcome into the show for it's like an old school episode of Unidentified History. We got the whole gang here. I'm going to welcome into the show the man with the greatest beard in all of podcasting. I could not convince him to be shirtless today because this is not House of the Dragon. The females are disappointed, but they'll get over it. But it is the one and only DJ. How are you doing, my brother?
It gives them incentive to tune in to the House of the Dragon discussion that we're going to have here in a couple weeks, Dave.
Yes.
A couple weeks. If Dave has anything to do with it, I think we're
It's going to be
starting
pretty
next
quick.
week.
It'll be next Friday.
It might be next week. At this, we're going to implement the plan. We'll fill you in after this episode, Deej.
It's a good thing I've got a 4-day weekend coming up so I can catch up on season 2 again, just to brush up and get ready here. Dave, I'm good. I've had a rough few weeks, had some personal things going on that kind of had me going in some different directions mentally, but I'm getting myself back to center and getting back into the groove of things. And I'm glad to be back with you guys. I have missed this. I have missed the two of you, genuinely.
I heard some things and I wanted to offer my condolences and well wishes to you, my friend. I understand how that can seep in your head a little bit. But, a guy who doesn't have any of these problems because he just doesn't care is the one and only PC Tunney, man. Tunney, how are you doing, brother?
I care.
I know.
I care.
I know you care.
The man behind the character cares.
That's true.
No, I'm good. I think like all of us, I got done with work today and I was like, all right, 3 days, 3 days. I made myself cut the grass when I got home from work yesterday so that, fuck you. Okay. Just shut up, beard
4
boy.
days.
That's something DJ and I do though. When we have a day off and the other guy doesn't, we rub it in. Like I think I did the other week when I was golfing, I rubbed it in on you guys. So no big deal. But yeah, I'm actually never mad at a coworker for having vacation because I want everybody to have as much vacation as possible. I want more vacation. So I'm looking forward to these 3 days. I'm looking forward to fun having some good couple podcasts this weekend and a good couple rounds of golf. So let's talk about the aliens.
Yeah, we got to talk about the aliens because on Sunday we will talk. Have you watched the last episode of The Boys yet? Okay, then I will shut up.
I will watch it Sunday.
Interested to hear your thoughts about that. So anyway, what we're going to do here is, like I said, we are going to go through and I'm going to try to keep this kind of chronologically as the way things have broken down the past 2 weeks, because it has been since May 8th when this shit all dropped on us. It has been a wild ride to say the least. Who's all right? Hold on a second.
Whistling Mike and Kaylee and Mrs. Attitude are both in the chat today.
Where's the bodies? That's right. Where are the bodies? And then of course my lovely wife. Hey babe, what's happening? Yeah, we're gonna try and find the bodies today, Mike, but I don't know how much luck we're gonna have with all that. I will say before we get in, Mike just did a new interview with Tyler over a Total Disclosure podcast. I know Ty had some, technical issues or whether somebody just tried to erase the file once they realized what the guys were talking about. That's a possibility as well. But I think that episode's up. I have not had a chance to listen to that yet. I need to. Congratulations, Mike, on another interview. One of these days we gotta get Mike actually on this show and talk to him if his lawyers will let me talk to him. Lawyers don't like other attorneys talking to people, so it's weird like that. Go
They
figure.
talk wrestling. Have them on for a wrestling show.
Talk wrestling. There you go. So the landscape of things kind of changed back on May 8th when that is when the Department of War did what many of us thought was just smoke, mirrors, bullshit. They will never do anything with this. They had an official file drop, Tranche 1, and they dropped a ton of information, documents, videos, audio recordings, all sorts of stuff. It got Mike, it got weird. I can imagine it got weird, but it's a lot of new stuff. Yeah, I definitely need to listen to that episode with Ty because I'm sure it's awesome. Tyler does great work. Lawyer said, God, come on and deliver a chair shot. That is perfect. I mean, I love it. That goes right along with the new website, right, Tunney? I mean, chair shots
There you go.
for all involved. Getting back to the first release of the file information, there's so much information out there, and people were talking about it and going through everything, kind of micro dissecting what was in the files. And it took me a while to get to the point where I'm like, okay, I feel comfortable enough going on and trying to talk about this. So what we're going to talk about in the first part here, before we get into some of this other wild stuff, and then we will finish off this episode talking about Tranche 2, is I wanted to go and look at, and if I can pull up the site, because I'm going to try and loop this stuff in as much as I can by kind of like showing the site on here and sharing screens and that sort of fun stuff. A lot of people get obviously they get hung up on the videos and they want to see everything about the videos and that sort of thing. And that's understandable because we live in this kind of like, I don't want to like belittle anybody or make fun of anybody or that sort of thing. But it is a very ADD centric environment that we live in where people want instant gratification. Nobody wants DJ, are you raising your hand? Are you one of those people?
I am one of those people.
Okay. That's cool. That's cool. But there is, I think, as interesting as the videos can be, the first thing I want to talk about, and I'm not going to, what I want to do is if I can show this real quick here, share my screen and show you kind of where yeah. So this is what I'm looking at real quick. And it's right in here. This is the first thing I would tell people to go to. There's a document and it's split up into multiple entries and they all come under this 62 HQ 83894 and it's broken up into like a bunch of sections, right? And as I'm scrolling down here, I know DJ's got his glasses on. You probably need that to see this, but this is the first document I would tell people to kind of take a look at. And I say that because it's not that there's anything in here that's really going to blow you away or anything like that that's going to like blow your socks off or something that's going to like make you say, oh, wow. But it's important to show that one of the big things that we've heard about for years, right, is that, the government wasn't interested in this or was nothing to see here, move along. It's all, nonsense and bullshit. And what's in this FBI document is it shows a lot of stuff that's going on. And historically, you can see that going back to like the weeks leading into Roswell. And I don't know if we haven't touched on Roswell yet. That's coming up in a very soon episode of Unidentified History. But there's entries in here that happen literally wrapped right around Roswell. And the stuff I would tell people to look for in this dump of material in all these documents is there is in section 2, like the opening pages of this document, June 24th, 1947, there's an overview of investigation of flying discs. And this is all coming from the FBI. So the FBI is heavily involved in this stuff early on. This is a document that notes that flying discs were first reported in the area June 24th, 1947. Tunney, you know what date that is because you covered that episode with me. That is Kenneth Arnold's sighting. Mount Rainier. So they're tying the wave directly back to the Kenneth Arnold sighting and how officials were starting to look into this stuff and beginning to say, okay, let's organize and summarize. All these reports are coming in. It is in section 2. Then there is around page 180 of the compiled UFO file. I mean, if you break it all together and you combine everything, you can find it pretty easy. But this one I wanted to look at because this is very close to home. July 3rd, 1947. So we're 5 days before Roswell. Bakersfield, California. A guy by the name of Dick Rankin. He comes on and it's a local California item. Mr. Rankin said he saw silver saucers over Bakersfield on July 3rd, 1947. He later changed his story and suggested it could have been the Navy's XF 5U-1 flying flapjack. Now, you know, I think I've heard this type of aircraft mentioned before, but it is kind of interesting that he kind of pivots away and says, okay, it's an example of literally, between Kenneth Arnold and Roswell, there's this report coming in and somebody's seeing some exotic craft out there that looks kind of like a flapjack. It's an early flying saucer report. So it's like, okay, that's kind of interesting. We go to July 18th, 1947. This is around page 103 to 105 of the file. So we're talking 10 days after Roswell. And this is a technically Edwin M. Bailey. So he's a very technically minded individual. He's trying to interpret, there's this big rush of reporting of UFOs all around the United States. He's trying to figure this stuff out. And he sends this memo to FBI headquarters from his New Haven office. He's a scientist at American Cyanamid Research Laboratories in Stamford, Connecticut. Tunney, I think it's Stamford, Connecticut. We know who else is in Stamford, Connecticut. And he thought the saucers might be radio-controlled germ bombs or atom bombs. And it's like, wow, that's a bit out there in the middle of nowhere when you're talking about, what are we talking about? Radio-controlled germ bombs or atom bombs, huh? Okay. We stick with July 1947. This is in serial 153 of these documents. Oak Ridge flying saucers. So there's actually a picture in here, and I'm going to share it for you in a moment. But this thing is described as containing 2 photographs of reputed flying saucers seen over Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Now, Oak Ridge Laboratories is one of the heavily rumored UFO hotspots. So there's newspaper clippings. So let me do this real quick. Let me pull up the photo for you guys, because to be honest, I didn't see anything that was that spectacular here. But if I got so many freaking windows open, here we go. Oak Ridge, 1947. So let me go back in here and share this. I'm going to stop sharing the one and go into this. So this is the Oak Ridge. This is the only one that I got. So there's a couple pictures on there, and this is the only one that I saw that really kind of draws my attention. So you can see here, there's something obviously flying across the screen, and there's this orb looking sort of thing. And I don't know. Yeah, you guys can see my cursor, right? Okay. So yeah, this thing's flying across, and there's this orb looking thing. And of course, this is pretty, this is 1947. So photographic quality is not going to exactly be the greatest in the world. It's an interesting picture from very early on in this whole kind of situation. So I'll stop sharing that. I'll go back over here. And if you guys want me to leave anything up longer, I can. But as you can see, there wasn't a whole heck of a lot there. We go to July 23rd, 1947. So we're still July 47. Lots of stuff going on. There's a Winifred Clark correspondence with somebody named Hoover. It's a letter from Winifred Clark and a Hoover acknowledgement tied to, maybe that's President Hoover, to material she thought might be relevant to the flying disc issue. Her husband viewed it as nonsense or advertising. The Bureau was being flooded with these sort of public submissions. You can see this at pages 110 to 112 of the compiled file. Then you've got stuff from late July to August of 1947, which deals all with Maury Island. Tunney, you will recognize the name Maury Island from the last episode we did. And of course, this is a very historically important FBI case because it clusters in the file. It's overlapping between the stuff that's going on with Harold Dahl, Fred Chrisman, all that stuff. Those guys who died when the B-25 bomber crashed, all related to Maury Island. This is all in section 3. Anybody who, if you listen to the last episode and you were interested in Maury Island, whether it was a hoax, whether it wasn't, what was going on there, this is a good companion to the stuff we talked about on the Kenneth Arnold episode. And then there's a document, then we skip way ahead. We go almost 20 years later. There's a October 19th, 1966 San Francisco to Hoover memo describing small crewmen. And this is one of these weird ones that it's in section 110 of the FBI document. It's a summary of UFO claims circulating in the mid 1960s and says that some witnesses reported seeing crewmen who had landed from objects and were described as 3.5 to 4 feet tall. My wife's texting me stuff about street names in Bakersfield. Rankin. is on South M off of Ming Avenue. Interesting. But anyway, these witnesses reported seeing crewmen who had landed from objects were described as 3.5 to 4 feet tall, wearing what appeared to be spacesuits and helmets. This reads like a verified case, and it's kind of like a bureau summary of the occupant claims in circulation at the time. But this was one of the more, I noticed, I saw a lot of people talked about the 4 foot tall beings noted in these early documents. This is actually in section 10 of the FBI documents, 3.5 to 4 feet tall, spacesuits, helmets. You can do that whole searching sort of thing. So, like, that was the first kind of document that, uh, and I know Mike's asking, what was the stigma like in 1946? I don't think there was much of a stigma in 46 because this is this is a year before Roswell. I don't know if the stigma had sunk in quite yet at this point in time. I think, a lot of people, it wasn't really prevalent by then, and I think a lot of the reports that some of the stuff we'll see later on talks about kind of the way that it was being portrayed as science fiction and getting very popularized with the country at this point in time, with people starting to, and I think like one of these days we have to take a really long, hard look as far as like, how is popular fiction really kind of shaping the narrative of the conversation back at this time frame. But anyway, I thought that was, this is not video and that sort of thing, and you actually have to read through these documents. But this 1940s FBI document is long and involved. And there's some interesting stuff there. Like I said, nothing that's going to make you say, yep, that proves UFO exists. But it does kind of show a little bit of the zeitgeist that was going on in this time frame where Kenneth Arnold has a sighting. There's all this stuff. I mean, there's a lot of activity in July of 1947. So if people go in thinking it was just Roswell and that was all that was happening in July of 1947, this suggests otherwise. Lots of stuff going on there. So, DJ, I'll go to you first there. Anything in that document that kind of stands out to you as being interesting?
I think I would like to read the document and pick, kind of cherry pick some things out of it when I get a chance. I think the time period is because this time period, there's a lot going on and a whole lot of information where now that it's coming out was, going on aside from Roswell. And I wonder how much of this was factual versus post-war paranoia, post-war mentality. Remember, people are still fresh, 24 to 48 months removed from World War II. There's a mentality from that coming out of that. I have to wonder how much of that is playing into this. You know where I live, Dave? I want to believe, and I'd like to read some more to kind of familiarize myself with the document. I do think it's interesting that they had this much data back then.
And it's clear that they're taking this stuff seriously and trying to ferret out through what's, like you're saying, what is mass paranoia? What is a byproduct of World War II? How much of science fiction has influenced this at an early stage? How much of this are we going to take seriously? But there's clearly, even as far back as 47, people starting to look at this and say, we need to at least look into this and explore this.
Well, and then there's also the question, and we see this even in the modern age with certain things, how much of this is factual versus people trying to jump on the bandwagon? I'm sure, that people trying to fake things was not new to modern human history. So,
sure.
Right. That, not only do we have documents that we have to look through that we're taking seriously, but we have people out there faking it who we still have to take seriously just in case. And it muddies the waters like anything else does.
Right.
So you got to kind of filter through that and siphon off the nonsense.
And I think Maury Island is a really good example of exactly what you're talking about, right, Tunney? Would you agree with that? That we talked about the stuff that was going on out there, whether it was a hoax, whether it was faked, whether it was just for attention or something in between.
I think that's one of the best things we do is when we take these historical deep dives, we kind of finish it with, legit or bullshit. And it's funny because, we talked about a lot of the different points in the whole Kenneth Arnold thing and like reasons why he had no reason to lie. But then shortly thereafter, a lot of copycats came along and trying to capitalize on what was going on, So it's interesting to see those kind of things get mentioned, come up. I would like to know more. I really don't want to read this. So you just tell me everything I need to know.
I just did
Dave.
tell you everything you need to know.
And that's why people should be listening to this show, right? I
Dave
am so
does
tired
his
of
research.
I'm tired of reading. I'm tired of writing articles for Ray.
It's Ray's fault. I say we blame
tired.
Ray.
No, I mean, this is a great discussion to have too. And go back, and if you don't know of any of these events or they ring a bell and you want to catch back up on them, go back and watch some past episodes where we cover some really good stuff. But you can clearly see different levels of boy, this person has absolutely no reason to make this up, to I'm kind of 50-50, and then you get to, okay, sorry, buddy, there's too many holes in your story.
Right.
Right. And that's what and that's what this whole episode is going to center on, this sort of, not divisiveness, but just like looking at it through a different lens. Like Mike just texted or just put a message, Aztec, giant fake. A lot of people think that way. The Aztec incident is a big fakery. A lot of people think it's legit as can be. But that's the nature of this whole topic of conversation. Some people are going to say, I find this credible. Other people will be like, I don't find there to be any credibility to that at all. But let's kind of keep moving on here and talk about some of the other stuff. Some of the most compelling stuff in the first tranche or the first drop is the information we got from NASA. Remember, NASA, nothing to see here. We don't have any information. We've never had anything that we saw that was anomalous. Oh, those live feeds that cut out all the time, nothing to see. It's a technical glitch, nothing here. Well, about that. So we got a lot of information from, and of course, I understand that a lot of what we're going to talk about is predicated on whether you believe we went to the moon or not. Because if we didn't go to the moon, then, a lot of this stuff kind of falls by the wayside. But assuming that we did go to the moon, then you start looking at the NASA reports and you say, okay, well, let's see what actually happened there. And I think I want to start with the, if I can find it. So this is,
Dave.
Thank you, Tunney. I really appreciate that. I need people to believe in me, but I want to pull this up first because this was one of the interesting documents we saw. This is a transcript from Gemini 7. And if I can, I'll try and find the audio for this as well, because they did have the audio release of this thing. So as you can see here, this is the Gemini 7 transcript. Gemini 7 was 1965. And you'll see like at the very bottom of page 1, and I love they did this on Doomer Friday a couple of weeks ago. They had Andy McGrillen from that UFO podcast and Xander Jones from Dreamland Hotel. Andy's Scottish, Xander's British, and they were both coming out with Texan accents to try and read off this Gemini transcript, and it was hilarious. I can tell you that. So like if you see like right off the bat, they're talking about Gemini 7 here, Houston, how do you read? Loud and clear 7, go ahead. Right off the bat, Borman, a bogey at 10 o'clock high. This is Houston. Say again, 7. I said we have a bogey at 10 o'clock high. Gemini 7, is that the booster or is that a natural sighting? A what? Say again, 7. We have debris up here. This is an actual sighting. You have any more information, estimate distance or size? We also have the booster in sight. So they're looking at the booster. So it's not the booster that they're seeing. Understand you also have the booster in sight, Roger. So, they're talking about particles going by the left out about 3 or 4 miles. Understand you have many small particles going by on the left at that distance. There's some garbled conversation. Then at the bottom, they're talking, this is Gemini control. Again, the reference in that conversation to the third, an unidentified object, of course, the third object was a bogey. There were several references to the bogey at 4 hours, and it looks like they typed in stuff here, which is a little bit odd. But I'm going to try in an effort for you guys and find, Mike is on yes on the moon vote. I think most of us, I mean, I understand the argument for it. And we are going to talk a little bit about the Jeremy Corbell documentary, Sleeping Dog, when we get by this first sort of thing. We have a Santa Claus. That might be a tougher sell, Mike, but I'm with you on part of that. I can go with you on that. But let me see if I cannot pull up the actual transcript on this thing, because I've actually gotten almost decent at navigating this. And like the stuff that they released today is just like, they didn't even like break it out or list it out. They're just like, go download it yourself. I'm like, well, thanks guys. That's awesome. And it's only like 5 gigs to download. Here you go. So here's the Gemini 7.
Gemini control here again. Earlier in the flight, you'll recall at the start of the second revolution, we had a reference to several objects that the crew spotted. This was in the area of Antigua. Due to a mechanical breakdown, we did not have that portion of the tape available for you. This was a line breakdown between Building 30 and our news center in Building 6. Since then, we have dubbed a tape off the master tape here in the control center, and we are now prepared to play it for you. It contains references to sighting not only some particles, but as well as an unidentified object, plus the booster. Here's that tape. We'll play it for you now.
Gemini 7 here, Houston, out of your 8.
Loud and clear. 7, go ahead.
Bogey at 10 o'clock high.
This is Houston. Say again, 7.
So we have a bogey at 10 o'clock high.
Roger. Gemini 7, is that the booster or is that an actual sighting?
Oh, what?
Say again, 7.
So we have several, looks like the 3 up there, actual sighting.
You have any more information, estimated distance or size?
But we also have the booster in sight.
Understand you also have the booster in sight, Roger.
And we have very, very many, looks like hundreds of little particles going by to the left out about 3 to 4 miles.
Understand you have many small particles going by on the left. At what distance?
4 miles. Large, looks like perhaps a vehicle that's disintegrated.
Roger, understand they're about 3 to 4 miles away.
They're past now, they're going to polar orbit.
Roger, and understand they were about 3 to 4 miles away.
Traffic appears line. Or further.
Roger.
So I'm going to stop it there just because I think you guys get kind of the gist of what's going on there. And what strikes me, and why I'm so glad that they released the audio transcript and not just the written transcript, is when you read it, you don't grasp what's really going on. And when you listen to it, you can tell, like, when that guy says we have a bogey at 10 o'clock, that long pause before anybody comes back on, he's like, what did he just say? What do you, I mean, it's like they're trying to process, like the guy in Houston is trying to process, what the fuck did he just say? And then they're trying to look for, some more, more mundane explanations. Well, it's got to be the booster. No, we've got the booster in sight. So Tunney, I want to go to you first on this one. I found that one very interesting as to what's going on, and just actually, like, reading the transcript was one thing. When I actually listened to it back and heard the reaction of the guys in Houston and how they kind of responded to not really knowing what to say in that moment. Am I reading too much into that, or did you hear that as well?
I didn't. I heard the opposite.
Really?
I felt like it was just another one they were getting that they had been getting. They seemed really just calm. They were asking the same questions. They were trying to, like, almost talk them out of it and ask them different types of things. I think DJ's catching I don't know if they were talking them out of it, but, like, it felt like they had done this before and they were just calmly playing along. Yeah, go ahead, DJ, jump in, because that's kind of the biggest point I don't want to cut you. No, you're not. You're not at all. Interesting. You're not at all. I like open discussion. This is being the point I was going to talk about. So let's go.
There's two things I noticed here. One, the guy who led us into that segment, who was talking about, we lost, we don't have video, we lost this, we lost that. He was very carefully choosing his words. Listen to the way he's talking, the cadence. He's almost like somebody's feeding him lines, is what I felt like. When we get into the actual audio between, the craft and the ground, yeah, there's that pause, but then they're like, say that again. He's like, there's a bogey at 10 o'clock. They're like, oh, okay, well, what's the size and shape? I'm like, wait a minute. Whoa. How did we go from here to here? You guys either were expecting to see something, because like Tunney said, we've been here, we've done this. This to me is compelling. Like, this is very compelling to me.
Mike, I think Mike's agreeing with you guys. The only reason, and I'm saying this, is because we're talking 1965. So how much stuff will we put into space in 65? Not much. But I mean, if you guys are right, then that really raises the question as to why would they be expecting that?
these
Or
same
why did
guys,
we go
though,
into space to begin with?
these same guys, though, like they're in this field, they have to be fully aware of everything that's been happening since 1947 and all the aerial sightings from airplanes since then, too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just, that's just kind of what I felt. It's immediately what I felt when I listened to it, because it's the first time I've listened to it. And
Well,
I,
that's
to, and
why.
I didn't, and I was kind of indifferent about the introduction. Like, yeah, the guy chose his words carefully, but he really wasn't leading you which way or the other. What he said was correct, and that's what you got. But it just seemed like those guys, they had heard this been reported to them before and knew how to go through.
And then I'm glad you guys are here and hearing this stuff for the first time, because it's great to have a different perspective. I didn't think of it that way, but you may be right. I mean, they may have been like, I mean, for all we know, they may have just been waiting for them to show up, and it's like, okay, yeah, they showed up. Okay, we knew that they were coming. You verify that's a bogey and the boosters in sight. Okay, that's what we were expecting. Now, that sort of thing. Let's see, Mike's saying, I feel like way before they made the contact on the radio, they would have talked among themselves, no matter what it is he saw. Probably true.
Yeah.
That's sort of thing. But yeah, it's interesting that, going back. So I mean, but that's, you kind of get back to the whole thing with NASA saying, we don't have anything, we don't know anything, nothing's ever weird ever happened. But like what you guys are saying, if you guys are right, then shit, they've known this the whole time and have been just lying about it since the mid-60s, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the Explorers program was launching stuff into space since
Okay. So maybe they've had, like your guys are saying, maybe they had issues with this previously, and they know that things have been checking. I forget when they launched the missile test out of Vandenberg that one year with the UFOs, but I don't know. But it's interesting. But that's not all that we get in the NASA stuff from this first file release. We get Apollo. There's a lot, like quite a bit from Apollo 11. So let's talk about Apollo 11. This thing, there it is. I need to do this.
Yeah, the Mercury program started in first crewed flight was in 1961.
Okay, so yeah, you may be.
Gemini's first crewed flight was the 65. There's definitely have been many a times, the Explorers thing was a robotics kind of thing, and now we're talking about manned space flights starting with Mercury, Gemini,
okay,
or Apollo.
You guys may be right. Maybe I didn't read into it enough. So let me do this. Okay, so this one we go now to Apollo 11. There's a debriefing from Apollo 11. This is from July 31st, 1969. Let's see, I think in particular, where's this stuff? So
I love when DJ puts his glasses on. I got a touchscreen laptop, so I can just expand it with my fingers.
Well, you're the smart one about this.
That's beautiful.
Oh, yeah, I have full screen view now. That's nice.
Right. So this is Apollo 11, isn't this? So this is the first mission to the moon, right? This is 1969. This is the one that actually lands on the moon.
Keep the glasses on, DJ, and just put them at the bridge of your nose when you don't need them.
Oh, so I'll look even older than I already look. Thanks, Tunney.
Oh yeah, congratulations on your 4 days off, Dick.
Yeah, Ebenezer Deej over here with his spectacles.
So in this, so this is the first mission that actually lands on the moon. Again, if you believe that, and you should, but if you don't, that's up to you. But Buzz Aldrin's talking about the first unusual thing. This is on page 1 that we saw, I guess, was 1 day out or something pretty close to the moon. It had a sizable dimension to it. We put a monocular on it. How'd we see this thing? Did we just look out the window and there it was? Yes, and we weren't sure, but it might be the SIVB. We called the ground and we're told that that was 6,000 miles away. Had a problem with a high gain about this time. There was something we felt a bump, and maybe it wasn't. I mean, this is stuff from that first moon mission. Not the one that flew around the moon, but the first one that landed on the moon. Neil Armstrong and other stuff that I've seen has said that something kind of followed them almost, as they were, getting close to the moon, something was following them. You've seen something like this. These guys are talking a lot about seeing light, particles, like Armstrong. What page is this? Page 7 of this thing. He's saying, Buzz, I'd seen some light, but I just always attributed this to sunlight because the window covers a little bit of light, no matter how tightly secured. The only time I observed it was the last night when we really looked for it. I spent probably an hour carefully watching the inside of the spacecraft. Made 50 significant observations in this period. So, I mean, there's stuff going on. Then you got the technical crew debriefing our document, which is yeah, they're talking about lunar orbit and things like that. So I mean, not a whole lot of great stuff here, but it is kind of interesting that on the very first mission to the moon, there was some stuff going on. Let's close that one down. Let's go to stop sharing that.
Change my nickname, Dave.
To what? AKA Buzzed Aldrin. That's a good one. You should. That's right.
Happy Memorial Day weekend, everybody.
Right. Apollo 12 is the one that I think has got more meat on the bone. And this is and I think it's Apollo 12 is the one because they're talking about let me share this doc. And there's some images on this one too that I wanted to share. Okay. So on this one, they're talking about going through this thing. Trying to find it. Not trying to create a lot of dead air here. But I think, let me find the image, because I think that's the one. This is the one with the. Maybe not. Anyway. I want to find the one that's got the images that they had on here, which was kind of interesting.
We've been doing this for too long.
I know. I'm just not finding this stuff.
No, DJ and I are having our own fun.
Are you?
Yes, we are.
I need somebody to have fun. So let me do it this way because this is not working. Documents are not.
My eyes disappear when I take my glasses off, so you can make fun of me.
There he is. Now he has got eyeballs.
Let me see if this one. Okay, so yeah, here's some images. So this is this one I can share. So this is one of the images that they took from. This is on Apollo 12. So this is the surface of the moon. They got these two squares over here, and they try to blow them up. Now over in Area 1, I don't see anything, to be honest with you guys. Over Area 2, they've got these two dots that, from the surface of the moon, that's a little bit odd, right? That sort of thing. Then we've got.
Oh my God, I hate when you do that. I'm all the way zoomed in, and then it's like.
That was me. I was zoomed in looking at the picture.
Here, hold on. I
got Tunney's lovely face right in my eyeballs.
Shit, there's my chin.
Sorry. There you go. Let me pull it back up for you. I'm going to try and pull up the other ones too. While you guys are examining.
I'll let you know when I zoom back out. So, folks, take a second to study these. So, DJ, are you in Area 1 as tight as you can be?
Yeah. Do you guys see anything there? I don't see anything.
Absolutely nothing in Area 1. I see.
I see like a little couple. I need to clean my screen.
But there's a couple little dust balls in Area 2 that could be camera lens. This is not.
How about in the upper right of Area 2? Do you see two faint dots kind of next to each other, a little bit left of the top right there? I kind of see two faint things there. That doesn't look like a smudge that I have. Oh, Area 1. Okay, Area 1. Go all the way to the left on the top, and then go down just before halfway. There's another one right there. Oh, God damn it, Dave.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's there. Area 1, there's something there. Go all the way to the upper left corner, come down just before the middle and look a little right. There's another one right there. There's a couple other ones too.
Okay, whoa. Yeah. I'm seeing what you're seeing now.
Yeah.
I had to blow this thing like way up because I'm old and
so
well, I need to do it too because I don't see it. But that's okay.
No, it's there, Dave.
Yeah, he's absolutely correct. And actually the distance between the two over there is similar to the distance of the two that you can see in Area 2.
So there's 4 of them up there is what you guys are saying?
There could be more if my eyes aren't deceiving me and I'm kind of looking. If you look deeper, it's just difficult. Oh my goodness, there's a lot going on. And I want to move this up and down, and it moves with it. You just really got to kind of, it's almost like a Mallrats thing. Is that the one where they look at the picture? you don't necessarily have to disillusion your eyes, but if you got to look really tight, it's faint.
Yeah.
Like area 2, like faded out. Just below area 1, if you go all the way in, you can see a bunch of shit underneath area 1.
Yeah. All right. So I'm zoomed in all the way now on area 1. So there's 2 in the upper left-hand
Yeah,
corner.
there you go.
See,
There's
there
the
you
two.
go.
There's one
Here,
on the
I couldn't see
right
that
boundary.
one. What about
Yeah.
on the top, just below the title area 1? There's a little cluster underneath there that's kind of interesting.
Right there.
Yeah, that's good point, guys. Area 2 is that's the much
That's
more
the
visible
brightest
one.
2 right there.
But
You
there's a
catch that right
third.
away.
There's a third in area 2, like when you zoom in, like you're
Well-
saying, Tunney, there's the 1, there's the 2, and then on the right border, there's one that's kind of going between this red-blue spectrum sort of thing.
Yep. Now, what about the lower 2 right ones? Can we go down into both of those? Okay, that's pretty obvious right away in the one on the right.
Yeah.
And then on the left, it's kind of in the middle, really faint, and then kind of on the left side, maybe. But
they're the same
crazy.
images. They're just blown up. As what they're seeing is actually low on the horizon.
Yeah.
The upper ones are just where they blew up what they saw on the lower horizons, Tunney.
No, I'm just saying what I could see without them blowing up. You know
Gotcha.
what I mean?
Okay.
Let me show you there. So that's cool. That's good work. You eagle-eyed guys at home found that. This one's a much more pronounced image. It's like, well, you won't have any trouble seeing this one.
That's what she said.
This is what she said. There you go.
Okay.
So yeah, I have no idea what this is. I mean, that almost looks like time lapse, right?
That looks like way fake.
Yeah, it really does.
I mean, I'm not saying it is, but like the way from this distance, from that picture right there, you're like, okay, what the fuck is that? But when you zoomed in, Dave, it looks almost like vertebrae.
It looks like a shower massager.
A shower.
It looks like someone's spine going down into the coccyx.
That's just from the pixelation of the picture.
No,
I don't know. I mean, when I look at it, I think time lapse, like a time lapse
it's something moved across the frame in time lapse and
Loki
gave you
was
that
it Loki?
that
It
It's
was
Loki.
image.
It's Loki, but it's blue.
Loki.
It should be green. Damn it!
That's the thing to talk to the whales in Star Trek 4.
It's like a blue sperm.
It's a
to be
purgle.
honest with
Is
you.
that what you're saying?
Yes.
It's a purgle. Knows, man. That could be a comet.
Could be.
There's a tail. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know either. There's one. Let me find the one that I think the best one, the most compelling one from here is, if I can find where. Well, this one's interesting because there's a lot of shit going on here. Let me find this one. Yeah, there's a lot happening here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 areas of stuff going on. And this is, obviously, I mean, when you think about it, right? This is Apollo 12.
Yeah.
So obviously the interest level is going to be higher here than at any other times. Like people are actually on the moon. So when you're looking at this thing from the standpoint of a lot of activity going on, it would make some sense, right?
How much of this is they just happened to be looking when there was a meteor shower?
Could be. Kind of dangerous meteor showers on the moon. No protection, but could be.
Well, that's why the moon's cratered, Dave.
I understand that. Where's trying to find this one image that. Well, that's all the Apollo 12 stuff. Oh, okay, I got it. So interesting stuff there. And like you're saying, there's I mean, could be meteors, could be a lot of different sort of things. I'm not really sure, but like I mean, zooming in on some of this stuff in this one image, it's like, well, that doesn't look like much of anything. That I have no idea. I mean, that I don't think that could be a meteor, could it?
I think it could. It could be a chunk of rock.
Not sure. I mean, this stuff, lens artifacts, all that kind of
Yeah,
fun. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but interesting. Let's go to Mike saying SpaceX launched the biggest boy yet today.
they
Stored in
did. They
these old
launched it
files looking for aliens.
6:30 Eastern.
Nice.
Isn't SpaceX offering an IPO in June?
I don't know. They should.
I think they are.
I think they are.
I don't think they've announced a specific date, but I think they are. Almost positive.
$900 a share if you want to get some or something
Yeah,
like
there you
that. I don't
go.
know.
Is that
Tunney's got that kind of money. Yeah, he's got that kind of money. Got this transcript from April 17th, or
could
not
buy a
April
couple
17th,
dozen?
Apollo 17. We've got, they talking about a few bright particles or fragments or something go drifting by, a whole bunch of big ones out the window, just this kind of stuff. But Apollo 17 had what I think was one of the pictures that caught my interest. And this one I know I can find because I just did.
SpaceX filed its initial public offering paperwork with the Securities and Exchange Commission to list on the NASDAQ under the ticket symbol SPCX. The highly anticipated public market debut is expected to take place on June 12th, with shares pricing as early as June 11th. SpaceX is targeting a historic post-money valuation of up to $1.75 trillion.
Christ.
Yeah, Elon knows what he's doing, sort of. Sometimes.
The offering is anticipated to raise between 50 and 75 billion, making it potentially the largest IPO in U.S. history, surpassing Alibaba's 2014 debut. So there you go. Is this one of those things though where you're like, shit, if I would have just like bought like 5 shares, like shit, I got $4,500, it's not gonna kill me. I wish I really had it. But it's not everything I have, but in 15, 20 years, is that $4,500 $4.5 million?
That'll make your car payment that month in 30 years.
At least one of your car payments. This is an image. This is the one that I like the most out of all the NASA stuff from Apollo 17, from the surface of the moon. And I'm going to zoom in on this so you guys can see it. So that's I mean, when it's zoomed in, it loses some of its quality. When it's actually zoomed out, that sure looks kind of triangular, doesn't it?
It does.
And I have no good explanation for that one.
No, the grouping there is very specific. So
It really
that's
is.
actually more compelling than anything we've looked at yet.
Yep. That's what I thought when I saw this. Like, well, what is that? Triangular formation from the surface of the moon. This is 1972.
So it's either a singular object that's lit, or it's 3 objects flying in a pattern.
Either way, it's a problem on the surface of the moon, right?
Yes.
Or maybe not a problem. Opportunity. Not sure. Tunney, what do you think of this one?
It's blatant. You didn't even need to zoom in, right? It's just It's right there. It's probably the most obvious one from one sector that we're kind of blowing up there. I just always try to take in the landscape in front of the moon terrain there. You can see some footprints on where they've been in or around, right from where they're shooting,
Mm-hmm.
in addition. But yeah, that's the most obvious one. I don't know necessarily that pattern strikes me so hard as a triangle, but it's obviously some type of just off center isosceles triangle.
Tony, the geometry whiz. I mean, at least you didn't say they look like flying wind chimes on the moon, right? DJ?
Well, like the top left one would be in the lead and the 2 would be trailing. So it would give you almost 2 even sides and then 1 shorter one. If I remember correctly, that's what isosceles means, is 2 of the sides are the same distance.
No, you're right. I mean, it's something triangular in some form or fashion. So, but I think to me, that's the best thing that we've seen so far as photographic evidence or anything like that. That's the one that stands out to me. Like, that's something I can't quite explain. Deej, would you agree with that?
Yeah, that's something I mean, I can look at some of the previous pictures, okay, that looks like a time lapse, that looks like a smudge, that's lens dust. This is probably some kind of rock. This one, I can't look at definitively and say, "Well, it might be this or that." Yeah, this is the one that leaves me scratching my head.
Tony, would you agree with that? Are you scratching your head or what are you
I'm not
scratching?
scratching my head on any of these things, to be honest with you. Like, I look up in the sky when I'm in the northern woods of Wisconsin, one of the darkest places, like as far as like city lights and things that there's like far northeast and north central Wisconsin are just there's not a lot of anything there, right? So the skies are the clearest and you see some crazy shit, man. I mean, they're looking out from the moon. We're just looking out from Earth. This is even more distance.
They have 0 light pollution here.
Right. It's interesting, but I mean, I don't know exactly what to make of it, you know?
That's fair. That's fair, buddy.
I'm becoming even more Buzzed Aldrin as we go. But
By the
no, I'm
end of
having
this
a good time.
episode, you're going to be hammered, Aldrin. So
Well, no, I'm from Wisconsin.
there was a from 1973. Skylab had an interesting briefing, technical crew debriefing, where they're talking about. Yeah, let me show you this guy because Skylab was like the first manned satellite sort of thing that we had out there. So this one was a little bit interesting as well.
I would love to know what Mrs. Attitude was had laughing emoji for. Just because the
Uh,
chat's like not in synchronization sometimes with the liveness of
well,
our.
she just thinks we're funny in general. So
I would love to know this distinct thing.
yeah, babe, if you're listening, tell us what do we say that was so funny? But anyway, with the Skylab report we've got from June 30th, 1973, unusual or unexpected visual phenomenon. We saw light flashes. All of us saw them. I saw them most often when I was in the sack at night with my eyes closed but awake naturally. They tended to wax and wane. Someone asked me if this was in conjunction with the South Atlantic anomaly. May have been. I didn't have the pad with me. I don't know what that means. At the time, they were numerous, at times 2 or 3 per minute. Some of them to me were spots or sunbursts, some were streaks. So you've got some weird light phenomenon going up on Skylab,
Can I just interrupt for a second, Dave? It's
of
interesting to
course.
me that the guy says, most of the time what I saw was when I was lying in bed awake. To me, I like try to connect dots and give it my, best hypothesis or guesstimation. And is there a chance that they're advanced enough here where they just kind of try to observe things without motion so they can continue to be undetected, right? Like if they feel like there's no motion down on the ground, they're going to be able to get closer and know that they won't be seen. I'm not sure. It's a weird thing to say, but it's kind of a connection I made.
Well, how and I guess I mean it's a good observation to make, but I mean like how do we extrapolate that to a situation like this where they're in a satellite in orbit? Like,
Right.
I
Or
mean,
flight
we haven't
as
heard it,
well.
right? We haven't heard like from guys on the International Space Station aren't coming out and saying, "Hey, here's what we see," which you would think if there was anything to see that these guys would be out there talking about it, but you don't get to see that. Um, but it is interesting, going back even to 1973, where you've got these sort of things that are going on, and on the first manned satellite that we had out there. Uh, we haven't, like I said, we haven't heard from the ISS. We haven't heard from the Soviet space station Mir. Whether they observed anything like that. Obviously, Russians aren't about to be forthcoming with their information. Can't imagine why. But all of it's just kind of fascinating to me as you go back and you look at all of these sorts of information and this historical data and say, well, there's something going on in the skies with the space missions and that sort of thing. So, what else do I have for you guys that I can share with you?
What's interesting, and I want to remind our listeners of this, is that we are not just chasing aliens. This is unidentified history. And what I find fascinating is the historical side of it. Whether it's fake, whether it's, falsified, whatever the case may, whether it's absolutely 100% concrete fact, I'm very interested in the historical documentation of these things. It's very fast. That part of it's very fascinating to me.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of a hobby of all of ours, right? On this podcast and others where, we're kind of historically documenting wrestling, trying to cover this and then our dragon universe, we want to cover that too.
Well, that's not very historical, but it is fun. So there you go.
It feels like it happened before our time.
It does feel like it happened before.
Oh, Ray, DJ has a shirt on. No, thank you.
I tried to tell him, Ray.
Welcome, Ray
tried
Cashington. Jump your ass in here, Ray Cashingtons, and
I
give us your
tried to.
opinion.
You
I
gotta
tried to.
tune in to House of the Dragon. Game gone wrong. I'm telling you, it's or did we rename that finally?
No,
No,
we
it's still
never
Game
renamed
Gone
it.
Wrong.
We
We
gotta
stuck
keep-
with Game
That's right.
Gone Wrong.
Yeah, we got to.
We're gonna keep the gimmick. This is the last document I want to share from this first drop, and then we'll look at some of the videos. This is from 2023. There were several incidents that were going on in the Western United States. Just scrolling through, you can see kind of the titles: Orbs launching orbs. Federal law enforcement special agents were seeing orange orbs in the sky, launching smaller red orbs in groups of 2 to 4, with 3 being the general consensus. Like, huh. That's an interesting sort of situation and sighting. But there's more of them. They got like these large fiery orbs. These are all in the location in the Western United States. They don't get any more detail as to what's going on. Arrow was gathering some information, and whether you think that Arrow is on the level or the scum of the earth sort of thing. This one is DJ. You'll appreciate this on this. Tunney, not so much, but you will. No offense, Tunney. But
What the
you'll
fuck?
see why in a second. You'll see why in a second.
Just kidding.
Witnesses stated that the object did not emit any noticeable sound. The object was described as being similar to the Eye of Sauron from Lord of the Rings,
Okay.
except without the pupil, or
I take
maybe an
back my what
orange
the fuck.
storm. Yeah, exactly. Or maybe a storm electricity bowling ball. So there's the artist rendering. You can see this thing up in the corner, Deej, right? And
Yeah.
It's like,
I'm looking
well,
at that now.
that, yeah, I mean, there's no pupil there. There's no vertical sort of pupil or anything like that, but I guess I could see where they're coming up with the Eye of Sauron for that, right?
For lack of a better description, that's probably pretty accurate if the artist rendering is indeed what they saw.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got the dark kite location. Again, this is all happening out in the Western U.S. Again, it's federal law enforcement agents. They thought they saw a car traveling along a road in a restricted zone. Car had 2 lights, one red and one white, about 2 to 3 feet off the ground. Agents pursued the car. As they got to within a few hundred feet of it, the object suddenly moved off the road over the desert without changing its orientation. It's like, well, it's not a car. With respect to the observers, it appeared to move laterally at an estimated speed of 15 to 20 miles per hour. Didn't change height. Zero resistance. Did we finally get, I mean, guys, did we finally get the hover cars from Back to the Future? Because that's kind of what this sounds like.
Very much so.
You know those shoes that lace themselves in Back to the Future?
Yeah. Did you know the Cubs won the World Series in Back to the Future?
No, I was going somewhere with it. I got those for my character on Fortnite. So there you go.
Oh, the shoes that tie themselves?
Yeah, Marty
Nice.
McFly wears. Yeah, I got Marty McFly too.
That's awesome.
There
We
you go.
got this transparent kite. There's a dark kite sighting, which I guess is the first one that we just talked about. After this dark kite sighting, federal law enforcement special agents returned to the same area with another colleague. Within a few hundred meters of where they had the first sighting, 2 of the team members observed another kite-shaped object with a lighting pattern similar to the object seen previously, about 6 meters off the ground. You know,
So does the dark kite, because the lead object is dark? Is that what the reasoning is there?
I guess that's what they're saying. They use night, because I'm looking back at the dark kite description. They use night vision goggles to view the object once it had stopped off the road. Stated they observed the object for a split second in the end, night vision goggles before the light turned off. I don't know.
Interesting.
In later
I mean,
discussions with Arrow, the object is described as being triangular. So, I mean, it's like, this is kind of like, newer information that was included in these files that a lot of people didn't have, where you got this additional information about these unique sightings out in the Western United States that I think a lot of people may have missed this document as they go through, because there's so much information in this stuff that was dropped. And I'm just trying to clue people into some of the documents that stood out to me. But I don't know, you guys see anything in this Western United States document that strikes you as interesting, Deej? Other than the Eye of Sauron. So
Other than the ISR run, not really. What dates were these again? Like what time period was
this is
again?
2023. They were having all
This
these
is 2023.
sightings. So I will say this, there's apparently a little bit of a mini flap going on in the Western United States during this time frame, with these federal law enforcement agents are all seeing weird stuff out here and they're documenting it. So there is that element to it.
It's 2023 and we have artist renderings. Like nobody standing there observing this had their camera phone on them.
It's a good point.
You know, if this
Yeah.
were 1963, okay, give me an artist rendering. In 2023, somebody whip your phone out and take a picture or a video of this, please.
Fair.
Excuse me while
Very,
I whip
very
this
fair.
out. So,
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's a very fair comment.
Now whip
Peach.
it
Exactly.
out. Now whip it
Whip
out.
Tunney,
it
what do you
good.
think?
What?
See anything in here that strikes you as interesting?
No, like DJ said, a recreation drawing provided by USPER 6 of object seen with the bare eye. Yeah.
I got to file this one under bullshit, not legit.
It is
That's
interesting
fair
though
enough.
that there isn't really any. I mean, how deep? Here's a rabbit hole. You know, it's interesting we haven't seen anything on a camera, on a phone, on a with the camera, because they're everywhere. Like you can't do anything personally, right? But are we unable to capture it? Is all our technology so controlled that it just disappears, or is there
I mean,
really nothing out there to capture?
I've often speculated that it's easy for us to be armchair quarterbacks and say, well, why didn't you whip out your phone and take the video of this thing? But if you're actually confronted with this, is
There's
that going to
that
be the
too.
first thing on your mind, that I better whip
But
out my
nobody
kid?
ever. But nobody ever.
Nobody
Hey,
ever
Dave,
does.
I'm putting you on Facebook Live the minute
No,
I see
and
some
I'm
shit.
not. Yeah, and I'm not.
Please do.
I'm just asking questions, right? I'm not like
No, it's
I'm
it's
not
a fair,
like
fair question.
yeah,
It
I'm
is a
not
fair question.
advocating for either side. You know what I mean? I'm trying to figure it out.
Right. It's absolutely a fair question.
Mike, holler, brother. Thanks for stopping. See you soon.
Mike's got to run. Burleson
Thanks,
claimed there
Mike.
are better videos that. Oh, absolutely. I mean, that is
Happy
one of the things we're
Memorial
going to
Day
get
weekend,
into.
Mike. Be good,
Yeah,
brother.
Mike. Happy Memorial Day weekend. But he's absolutely right, and we'll talk about that as we go along here. But I did want to get into some of the videos, because there's quite a few of them that came out of this first dump that I know you guys probably haven't seen before. Some of them are interesting. Some of them have probably already been debunked or are very close to being debunked. But let me get this for you guys. Agency, and we will switch this to this. And if I can find the one that, so we will share this. This has been affectionately called this is the one that they've called the chandelier video. This is probably the most sensational one. You may have already seen this on the news and that sort of thing. But let's take a look at this one. Sharing. There you go.
This is interesting.
Tunney's not impressed.
Well, I mean, let me zoom in. Is that just trying to mark what it is around it, or is that what they're saying it is as a shape? Whatever that was, whatever this is happening over
Yeah, I
here.
don't
There's
know.
a pterodactyl and a stingray. Mothra has entered the scene now. So is that a target that the video they put on to follow it, or is that what they're saying is on the video that's being portrayed?
That's what they're saying is on the video that's being portrayed. Some
Well,
star-shaped.
That looks like a lot of a north, south, east, west Nautilus kind of nautical kind of sign on a globe or map.
That's a compass rose.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, DJ.
And I can't understand, even if it is something, why is it just kind of flying in this non-specific pattern? Like, that's just very bizarre.
And I mean, that's the one that a lot of people were like, well, what the hell is that sort of thing? A lot of people have talked about that one has been debunked. We'll get to the other one.
So, you know that first picture you put up, Dave?
Which one?
Very first picture you put up with the trail, and it was old. It was from 47. It had the shack, and above it, it had the trail and then kind of the aura.
Right.
So that left that same kind of trail that we saw from that very first picture, right?
Well, right. That's one of the things that bugged me about that is it looks like there's an exhaust plume that they're tracking on that video.
And it's the same thing we saw in that first picture.
Yeah. Let's see, get some other, let me pull this one up for you guys. And I got to say that, if you guys are wondering what's all the stuff that's blacked out, it's because these guys have, they've redacted a lot of like the metadata and stuff like that, because that's apparently, classified information. They don't want people to know exactly where these were filmed. They don't want to know speeds, ranges, directions, all that fun crap.
DJ's bird when you were talking glasses.
So let's
He was
see
flipping me off when DJ flipped me off.
Let's see what's in this one. I hate the way they always flash through those things like that. Yeah, I mean, okay, so it's entered the frame now, this white thing that's doing so at first time I saw this, I'm like, "What the hell's going on?" And then like, okay, that's erratic. But then, of course, it flies in the redacted area. Oh, wait, there it's back. And then it stops, and then it does, okay. And then it comes back up, and it goes all the way in, and, oh, great, well, this one I'm perplexed by. I'm not sure
This
what's
is a
going.
little more perplexing than the one we were just watching. Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't show anything blatant, but I'd like to know how large this area is that this whatever this is
That's
traversing.
the difficult perspective is the problem here, right?
Right.
Right. But it's like, to me, when you get these videos of them doing these erratic movements, left, right, then kind of almost hovering,
Yeah,
and then speeding off, and then coming back, it's like, what are we doing here?
the problem is you have no depth perception is a better even word than perspective, right?
Right.
True, because you don't
It's
know.
gotten bigger. It seems like we're closer to it as we went on. The dot is bigger now than it was. And why all these different spaces are edited out when it's really just a fucking blur screen when TV used to go off the air.
Now they're really zoomed in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can see it's something that looks plasma based, kind of, right? I mean,
It's so hard to tell
Almost.
because it's so pixelated, and this is such an I'm assuming this is an ancient video.
Listen,
no,
if we're gonna talk
this is
about like
2020.
This is from 2020?
if we're
Yeah.
talking about what we were talking about with a lot of things and even over the history where there's some type of aura or shell or force field or something around these things to let them travel in this way, right? Because if you were a being and you traveled in these violent motions that we talked about, like with the tic tacs and things of that nature, you'd be splattered like, you were, disgracing Homelander or something. You'd be done.
Disgracing.
But like this aura around it, that's what keeps it from everything inside of it being well. So I feel like that's kind of a common thing. Do I love what I just saw to make me go, "Ooh, no, it was just interesting."
It was. I mean, I think that one was a little bit more compelling than the first one, right? Um, because it, the videos that they show where they're just kind of like going in straight lines and that sort of thing, and nothing's moving, and somebody's just following some light for a period of time, and it's just straight. That never impresses me that much. But when they're doing erratic movements and you got movement left, right, kind of stopping and then starting back up again, it's like, well, okay, I don't know too many conventional things that can do that.
Well, that's the thing, right? The tic tac theory.
Well, that's true. That's true. All right, let's see. I got some other. Let's see. This one is from the Middle East again in 2020. Let's play this one for you guys.
At this point, could any of this be our reverse engineered things that we're testing out?
Absolutely, it could be. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not making any judgments as to what any of this
I
crap
mean,
is.
the weird abrupt movements and unfollowable actions seems like someone's testing something, right?
Yeah. Now these guys have locked onto a small thermal signature because they've labeled it that way. And it's like, okay, well, he's coming back the other direction now. So this one's doing a little bit of a yo-yo sort of pattern.
I mean, given the time period, it's also entirely possible that this is somebody out there playing with some type of drone. Whether it's a hobbyist or, an official military type drone. And given the way that the last video was just flying erratically, the first thing that popped in my head is like, this looks like a kid flying a drone, like a little toy drone or something. just with the behavior of the flight pattern.
Yeah, and this one's, I mean, you can only get to see bits and pieces of it, and
Yeah, there's not much
not
here.
much
And
there.
the only other thing that bothers me is that all of this is in some type of thermal camera.
Well, it's all the FLIR footage, yeah. So let's go back and try and find some of these other videos here. Trying to find something that's like almost compelling for you guys, but not really. But this is again off the first batch.
Tune into 30 Mindless Minutes this weekend on the Chairshot.com and Chairshot Radio Network. Me and DJ will be talking Lego on Sunday morning for all of you nerds that are tuning in right now.
That actually a really good discussion. I was like, when I pitched that at Tunney, I was like, how good of a discussion is Lego's going to be? But we made it compelling.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dave.
No, you
Back to
guys can
business.
talk. You guys can talk while this is going on.
So, DP is totally down to do like a multi-part series on the Thunderdome, and he said you know how to get a hold of him. So
Absolutely. I will
you
put
have
that with you.
you have official DP permission to bother him,
Yes.
as I am his gatekeeper, and honestly, that's what he likes. So there you go.
I had DP's phone number too, which is even
I
better.
know he said he can text me. So let him know he's down whenever you guys want to get together and
Absolutely.
talk about all that, because that'd be a fun couple episodes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
All right.
these
So
guys
are
have,
we looking at the red dot here, Dave? Or the
yeah,
pink dot?
whatever's in the middle of this red right here.
In the crosshairs here. Okay, I
Yeah.
got you.
They've got something that looks kind of anomalous, but it's
And it
like
appears to have some type of flashing light on it, or that was just the way the light reflected off of it.
Feels
Right.
like
I
it's
thought
moving too. I mean, like that's
Yeah.
moving.
Well, as it, and then it changes shape right there at the end.
Yeah. See,
It's like,
that's a bit more
that could be-
compelling to me.
Could be perspective though too, like a different angle.
Let me rewind that just a bit. So, like, yeah, I mean, there wasn't much to this video till the very end where it starts to like, okay, this thing's hauling ass.
But we're
at
also
least-
turning right hard with the camera, right? So
Well,
we're getting
and
a
yeah,
different
you've got-
perspective of it.
And there's parallax effect and all that kind of fun stuff. So, there's that. Let me move back over. This one. Oh, that's the one we just saw. Let's go and check out. Yeah, this one got a lot of people talking.
I think I just saw this one posted on X today.
Yeah, this is only 9 seconds, but it's like, it looks like a fucking blimp to me,
It does.
right?
Yeah, it looks like a blimp. Appears to be stationary, which again would suggest blimp.
Right. We can watch it again because it's only 9 seconds, but it's like a lot of people got talking about this thing.
Yeah.
Football shaped body with 3 radial projections. To me, it looks like a blimp.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. I mean, that's just what it looks like to me. Do this. Yeah, like, I mean, and there's stuff like this. This one, honestly, this one's not that impressive to me just because of kind of like, because these are the videos that don't really impress me that much. Right. So this one is just this white speck flying across. And it's like, what are we doing here, guys?
Yeah. I saw that one the other day.
Yeah, that's not impressive.
Can you
We've
play the
got-
9-second blimp looking one real quick again? I'm sorry.
Sure.
If it's easy to do.
Should be. That's not it. Sorry, wrong one. Think I'd have these memorized by now. Here you go, Tony. Share that. Here you go, boss.
What year is that from?
That is from, I think, 2024. Let me see. 46 in the East China Sea. It didn't give a date, but I think it was, oh no, sorry. Yeah, 2024.
Were we having a lot of interesting things happen over there with like shooting down like different things and unidentified flying objects like drones possibly, but then they turned out to be weather balloons and things of that nature?
Well, we're
Like,
gonna
there was
get
a whole
into
big thing going on between us and Asia with that. I can remember a few years ago.
Yeah, we're gonna get into something like that in a minute.
Okay.
Let me play this last one for you guys here, because this one was rather interesting. And this one was pretty well debunked. Maybe. Am I still sharing the screen? I am still sharing.
Yeah, it's still sharing.
Okay. All right. This one they've called the wind farm video. So check this one out.
Yeah, you could see the windmills on the lower right.
It's going to come back. Watch.
Yeah, it comes back around in a minute.
Have you seen this one, Deej?
Yeah, this one I've seen. This one I think I saw on day one. This is one of the first ones I saw.
Okay, we see it now, hovering up on the target area.
Now it's coming back.
Just went across.
So just flying through these windmills.
It's like it's flying under the arms.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not real sure what to make of this one. I wish I had something more to offer. I've seen very little from what's been released so far that gives me hope.
Well, this is a giant wind farm, by the way.
But yeah, there's a lot going on here.
Where is this?
Is this in the Midwest?
No. I'll tell you in a sec. So then the thing stops and it heads back.
Indo-Pacific Command?
Yes.
So this is like Indonesia, hey?
Possibly. Some country that uses wind as a... So, as interesting as that is, it probably was already debunked. Do you guys want to see a video debunking it? I've got it if you guys wanted to see it. But I mean, if you don't care about it, then that's cool too.
Yeah, I believe that it can be debunked. Let me tell you, I don't need someone to convince me, to be honest with you.
So, I mean, a lot of the videos, and the problem is that a lot of these videos have gone through the typical channels, like Mick West is one of the biggest debunkers. And as much as I disagree with Mick on a lot of stuff because he attributes everything to birds and balloons and that sort of nonsense.
I'm sorry I brought up balloons.
No, but I mean, that was what he said on this one he's like, well, I think, it's parallax effect. He's like, once you stabilize the camera, you can see that this object's moving along. He zooms in on the object and he says, when it looks like it's going behind the windmills, when you zoom in on this thing, you never lose sight of it, which indicates that, okay, it's something moving in front of the windmill and not behind it, which is suggestive in his opinion of a balloon. And he may be right.
I mean, my observation was that it was flying underneath the actual blades.
So, I mean, that was pretty much the best of the first dump. And really, other than the picture on the moon of the of the triangular craft on the moon, and I mean, maybe a couple of the videos where they show things doing erratic patterns, but you're not really sure about what it is. I didn't see anything in there that was really that compelling. But here's the thing, is that when that first file stuff dropped, it got 340 million hits in the first 12 hours. And now, then they didn't talk about how many hits it had gotten since then. Now, as of before all this stuff happened today, it was up to 1 billion hits. So it's clear that the people, normies, as I like to call them, the normal people out there, they're interested in this. There is a compelling, people want to know what this stuff is. There's a deep, like in the Disclosure Day trailers, people are starved for the truth. There is that element of this thing that even normal people are like, what is this all about? I'm very interested in this whole thing. This is a blessing and a curse, I think, as far as like, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on, but first, I'll go to you first, Tunney. Anything in there that stood out to you? And does the fact that 1 billion people have gone on that website and hit that button and tried to look at this thing, what does that tell you about the phenomenon in general and what people are looking for?
People want to know the truth. I think people that even don't believe want to know the truth about some of this stuff because it's so compelling, right? Like, why is this so compelling? And that's why people that can debunk, I don't want to disrespect anybody, but like, is also popular as well. So I don't know. I mean, the wind farm makes it one of the more familiar human experiences, right? You can, out of everything we looked at, you can clearly see the windmills, and that's something you can relate with as a human being, as opposed to people taking shots from the moon. I can't relate to that, and other things of that nature. So yeah, it's the most relatable. Whether it's real or not, it's hard to tell.
Deej, what do you think, man?
I agree with Tunney. It's an interesting deep dive. I think so far I'm whelmed. Largely.
Shout out to
That's
Patrick O'Dowd.
That's right, Patrick. Yeah, I really don't have much to add beyond what Tunney was saying. I'm with him there.
Yeah, I didn't find a lot, to be honest, as much as I am, team I believe and that sort of thing, but there wasn't a whole lot there that's going to move the needle. It was a lot of, and I think here's the thing that I think about, and well, I want to save that for the end because I want to talk about some of the other aspects of things that are going on since this happened. And we'll go from there. Jeremy Corbell, the documentary Sleeping Dog, came out on May 12th, and I did get a chance to watch it. And I know you guys probably, I guess I could, you know what, if I've got it here, I can at least play the trailer for Sleeping Dog for you guys, so you guys can see what this movie was all about.
Wag the dog?
Not Wag the Dog. Nice try, Tunney. But
also, though, conspiracy movie.
It's true. That's very true. But I'm going to play the trailer for this so we can talk about this, because I don't know if you guys have seen this before.
Your journalistic credentials mean jack shit. If you look in the 70s and 80s with the CIA, they used to have reporters on their payroll. They don't respect anybody.
Corbell is an investigative journalist who helped obtain and release the DoD footage of UFOs.
I've been holding a secret for about 11 years, and it's going to be extremely public. It's not a video of an alien. It's not a video of one crowd. It's more than that.
Years ago, I went searching for the truth about UFOs. And I found it.
He was the most curious kid ever.
The first person that I pointed a camera at was John Lear.
John Lear, son of the famed aviation pioneer and a world-class pilot.
The government has between 30 and 50 alien bodies.
Cold called his phone, and he picked up. I want to bring, a camera, and then how open he was with me.
This was not part of my game plan at all.
Flying saucers, flying discs of extraterrestrial origin.
The evidence is very strong. They've been here and are here.
It's an Alice in Wonderland planet. Very few people will ever find the truth, but everybody is looking for the truth, and a lot of people think that they found the truth, but that's impossible.
I'm like the least qualified person on planet Earth. One thing I am is I am worthy of your trust.
If you really have stuff that is that sensitive that you cannot release, you're relying on your connection as a journalist. They're not going to come after you, not only you, but they're going to come after your family. If I die, this story comes out.
It would represent one of the largest leaks in American history.
I don't know what to do, man. Is it worth it? To who?
Been better to name the sleeping bear?
Oh, because he's got the beard going on and that sort of thing?
You don't poke a sleeping bear.
I mean, Jeremy's released a lot of stuff over the years. Him and George Knapp together have released a lot of videos. Quite a few of the videos that came out today with the second drop have already been released by Jeremy. And we'll talk about one of them in particular. The 46 videos that Representative Luna wants released, quite a few of those have been touched on by Jeremy Corbell already. I did watch the documentary. It's good. There's a lot about how he first got into this whole thing. There's a lot of things that he's doing with John Lear. John was an interesting character because he was adamant that the moon landing was faked. He even told Edgar Mitchell, who was the sixth man who walked on the moon. And he basically told Edgar Mitchell that the moon landing that he was a part of was faked. And Edgar, it's an interesting suggestion. Like they were so good at faking it that they had the astronauts tricked into thinking they actually went to the moon, that sort of thing. But it's a good documentary. There's stuff about Bob Lazar. There's things about the whistleblowers who have come forward, and it's a good film to watch. And you could see in the movie that a lot of the stuff that Jeremy is carrying this burden around with him. And, the thing that he knows, and he knows a lot more, most of us thinks he knows a lot more than he's been letting on out of a sense of obligation and national security and that sort of thing. I know Jeremy did a sit-down interview with Chris Ramsey on Area 52, which was odd. A lot of people have commented upon Jeremy's demeanor during that, where there's some places, and him and Chris are friends, but there's some places where Jeremy seems quasi-combative in a few places. And it's like, and you almost think like, man, this stuff is really starting to get to him. Maybe he needs to take a step back because it seems like he's very stressed out about all this kind of stuff. I know you guys haven't seen the movie. I'm just commenting on it, that sort of thing. But I mean, obviously, you've got a lot of people who trust Jeremy, a lot of whistleblowers. He talks about on Chris Ramsey's interview that there's an army of whistleblowers ready to come forward and talk about this stuff. You know, like Mike was saying before he ran, he's talking about Eric Burleson talking about much better videos than anything we've seen released so far, anything the FBI has released so far. You've got representatives talking about earth-shattering videos that aren't being released. I mean, that's the thing. All the stuff that's been released, even the stuff today, it's all FLIR video, it's infrared footage. Where's the high definition? Where's the 4K stuff? Where's the stuff that's indisputable proof? Because we've been told they exist. Corbell is one of the ones who've said they exist. No one's releasing that stuff yet. And, you know, I've got my own reasons why I think why that's going on, but I'll talk about that in a minute. But I don't expect you guys to comment on any of this stuff because you haven't seen it. But anything you want to offer about, you know, what you saw on the trailer or anything like that?
The interesting thing to me was if you know if something so concrete comes out and we're like, okay, here it is, and now we're on this whole different plateau or plane of living and life, right? That this is actually legitimate 100%, and I'm not saying it's not, right? Then I think the bullshit is going to go away real quick and we're going to be able to decipher, right? And a lot of these people will be vindicated. And how many people will be vindicated? Because it just seems like there's a lot of people like Kenneth Arnold that they don't really have anything to lose. You know what I'm saying? Or they don't have anything to gain either by missing out here. So I don't know. It's so tough. It's so tough because we go back to the question of how much control is there on us, and is it better for us not to know? Right? We ask that question all the time.
No, it's a very valid question. Is trying figuring out, okay, what do we know? What do we not know? You know, what do we tell people? How much can the people handle? I mean, I think that's one of the big things for me about this is that, you know, you've got 1 billion people who have looked into this sort of thing, right? And so there's obviously the interest in it. There is no mass panic. Nobody's lost their shit about this yet. In fact, they keep going and wanting more. Religious institutions have not crumbled into dust. You know, there's not the church isn't, people aren't running to their preacher saying, explain all this shit to me. I need to know the truth. What about my God? No one's doing any of that.
We haven't started the Democratic Church of America yet.
Please.
I got to watch it. I'll text you when I do, Dave.
Yeah. I see. I lost my video effects. Oh, man. Now you guys get to see.
That happened about 40 minutes ago.
Really? Oh, well.
Yeah.
So you guys get to see my light switch behind me. I mean, I know that's impressive and that sort of thing, but it is what it is. You know, we're just gonna keep rolling with it. No sense to stop now. But yeah, I think like what you're saying, Tunney, there's so much about this that just like it's tough to figure out. But in the wake of all this stuff happening, right? We got like, and I want to go to, I'm going to share this guy, UAP James. If you're not following him on X, for those of you who can still get on X,
boy.
I mean, I can get on X, but can't do anything with it. Yeah,
I mean, just create a burner. They're not going to know.
I'm still trying to get my own one account back, Tunney. Yeah, then I'll create a burner.
Okay.
I know.
You won't need a burner then.
But I want to share, like James had his account. Like this is right after this stuff happened around May 10th. You know, one of the things we talked about is whether other countries would follow suit on this thing. Like if we got to the point where, you know, where there was actual disclosure happening and with the government releasing this stuff, would there be an indication that other countries would follow suit? And this is one of the examples of that. Like we got, where did that? So yeah, like if I can turn on the sound. Well, this isn't going to help because it's in Japanese. But you can see the kind of what's going on here. The Chief Cabinet Secretary Kara confirms U.S. released UAP footage around Japan. So Japan's kind of thinking about doing their own thing. I think another weird thing that came out of this whole situation is, if I'll find it here for you guys. So we had, you know, one of the biggest skeptics about all this stuff forever has been Neil deGrasse Tyson. And I don't know if you guys have heard that since this stuff came out, Neil deGrasse Tyson kind of did an about face. It started like he published a book about this sort of stuff, aliens and that sort of thing. But he actually did kind of like, if I can find this thing here, I know it's in here somewhere, or
I
maybe not.
do like Neil. I enjoy him. I think he's just practical with all the knowledge he has. It doesn't help that he was on The Big Bang Theory, and I love that sitcom. Make sure you tune in to Bandwagon Nerds every Sunday afternoon. A cheap plug.
Right. Right. But I mean, Neil deGrasse Tyson came out and he had said, gosh, here's one of these weird ones. Let me show you this crap. So one of the, I'm DJ, you're going to love this.
He'll be back shortly. Clearly don't break into DJ's house. We can see the gun safe behind his chair, right?
Yeah.
He's sitting in it.
So this is one of these weird videos, Tunney. They had, after all this stuff came out, Ukrainian, this one, the Ukrainian Defense Ministry advisor, Sergei, I can't pronounce his last name, released this. You guys can see this, right? Like, what the hell is that? I mean, to me.
Best Krestinov? Best Krestinov.
Yeah, best Krestinov. To me, I'm like looking at this thing and it's like, okay, why is the Ukraine military defense guy releasing this? That looks fake as shit to me. I'm just going to tell you right now.
Well, it's like another like video game symbol over the moving object. Apparently, if you, it'd be crazy one day if they're like, yeah, that was real, and then you see it, and you're like, oh,
right.
Shit, it looks like that.
Right.
I mean,
right.
It is a lot of perspective. You can see the perspective change though, too, right? Like,
right.
I mean, this one's more believable than the, compass that we've seen before.
Well, I mean, it is interesting. You can see it venting all this stuff on the bottom, right?
Well, as it turns too, at some point you can see the angle right there. You can see the angle is different than from here. This is on the side, and then you can see it from like a top side view a little bit. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's better than the other one, but who knows? This is so tough to decipher, especially like if you play video games, you're just like, okay, I've seen this like back in the early 80s.
Right. Okay, I found the Neil deGrasse Tyson thing. So
but I know that it's also like a different kind of view. It's not an actual shot. We got like the thermal view or whatever we're talking about.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, that was one of the ones that I saw that was like, what the hell is going on? I mean, that thing is like you're saying, if that's real, that's jarring to say the least. But if it's fake, it's like, well, okay, that looks fake. But let me play you this. This comes from, where is it? Yeah. From the Disclosure Party. They're another account I used to, I still follow them, even though I can't really follow them. But this is from the Disclosure Party. This is Neil deGrasse Tyson. I wanted to share this because you're a Neil deGrasse Tyson fan, and I wanted to, let me get this back here. So
you didn't miss much, Deej.
As you said, the real question is not are we alone, it's are we ready? Are we?
Yeah, I think we are, actually, because given the testimonies that we've heard given and that we heard delivered in front of Congress in 2023, 2024, 2025, from whistleblowers and insiders and military officials, ex-military, ex-intelligence officers, it's no longer just the farmer in the back 40, right, commenting on what hovered over their crops, or the revelers coming out of the bar at 2 a.m. So these are people of high rank and all sincere. And so not only have they sort of said that they've got alien body parts and reverse engineered technologies, that's sort of consistent with the files that were released. So I'm fine. If that's where we are, all I'm going to ask is, where's the alien?
So that's my question to you.
Is it too much to ask that if you've got him in the back shed, just bring out the alien? Then we would all transition from asking one another, do you believe in aliens, to, well, yeah, of course, the alien's there.
Well, you wrote the book.
People don't say, do you believe
You wrote the book. You're an astrophysicist. What do you think? Are they here, or have they been among us?
Whatever are the claims, I'm saying, let's assume they're all true. But just start with that assumption. If it's all true, they ought to be able to bring out the alien.
Got it.
And that hasn't happened yet. So I'm just sitting on the couch waiting patiently for that. And
do you mind, Dave?
Go ahead, Tunney. No, jump right in.
I want to thank Neil for rolling out of bed with his best pajama top on to do this interview. Neil,
forever the professional.
And I really hope you hear me say that, Neil, because I do love you. But yeah, I mean, show me the body. Show me the body.
Is this a about face for him? Is this a 180-degree turn from where? Because he's always been of the opinion that life is out there somewhere. I have not seen any evidence that it's here yet. He's always been very much he's been very much the skeptic on this whole thing. Is this a softening of that stance for him? Do you listen to that and think, well, he's kind of come around on this thing. He's kind of going in the other direction saying, hey, you know, maybe these things have been here, but yeah, show me the proof. Give me the evidence. Where's the actual bodies? Where's the aliens? Blah, 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 that sort of thing. What do you're a Neil fan. I've been a little bit harsher on him for obvious reasons, but
as government, do you create this controversy where we're gonna give you this and then make them wait, make them wait.
Hold that thought.
Okay.
Hold that thought, because I'm going to tie all this stuff. Deej, I want to go to you, Neil deGrasse Tyson, what you just listened to.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
I don't think he's shifted his stance. I think he still lives where I live. He wants to believe. Mathematically, we've talked about that on this show before. It is impossible that we are alone in this entire universe as far as any type of life, whether it's microbial or sentient. Impossible that we're alone. Whether or not we've been visited is the question. He wants the question answered, and I think he's right. I think we are at a point where we are ready. You know, 1 billion people just answered that question. Whether those people were genuinely curious, wanting answers, or trying to debunk it, 1 billion people were curious. We're ready. The population has spoken. Show us. If there's something to show us, give us something compelling. Stop holding the 4K evidence. Stop holding, the genuine earth-shattering video that everybody's holding on to. Lay it out there and let everything else sort it out so we can actually start having some intelligent conversations about what life outside of our bubble looks like and is.
Yeah. 1 billion people is a big number. It's a big number. I mean, that's not small numbers.
It's an eighth of the population of the planet.
That's right.
That's 100 million people 10 times, everybody. 10 times.
He's not a mathlete for nothing, kids.
He's got a golden calculator.
It's bronze. I don't want to lie to the people. Yeah. My teammates let me down.
Okay, kayfabe it, Tunney. Come on, man.
No. Well, no, that one we were fine with that. Rob doesn't have one, so we're good.
There is a side issue that's going on with all this stuff that's happening, and it centers on corruption. And I want to play for you guys a couple more things on here. Yeah, I know Tunney's shaking his head. Really? Government corrupt? No. But I don't know if we understood the depth of some of this stuff that's been going on. But I did want to get to this because I want to play some of this stuff for you, because this is a little bit jarring when you dig down into it. So I think it was on the 13th, we were supposed to have a hearing that dealt with MK Ultra, which MK Ultra was the whole mind control program that the CIA and the government did. One of the witnesses was willing to testify. The other ones didn't want to come forward for understandable reasons. And then we got on May 13th, a CIA whistleblower came forward. And I don't know if you guys have seen what he said or not, but I'm going to play it for you now because it is certainly something that you need to listen to. It's eye-opening, and it's like, wow. I knew that things were fucked, but that's a little bit more than I thought it was. So let me get in here. Play this for you guys.
I am a career CIA operations officer. And as you mentioned, I was on joint duty assignment at the Office of Director National Intelligence Directors Initiatives Group, or the DIG, between March 2025 and April 2026. I was responsible for leading the DIG's investigation into COVID origins, anomalous health incidents, and unidentified anomalous phenomena. I'm here today to discuss the COVID cover-up, the national security implications associated with the DIG's investigative findings, and CIA refusal to comply with lawful oversight, as well as how we remedy these problems. The CIA illegally monitored the computer and phone usage of DIG personnel, their investigations, and contact with whistleblowers. These were Americans being spied upon illegally while executing duties directed by the president and under the authority of the Director of National Intelligence. You must be willing to pull the purse strings and, if necessary, convene another church committee. The results of our investigation would have been impossible without whistleblowers willing to come forward. They are indispensable agents for reform.
You could tell that guy's fucking scared shitless. You know, watching him talk, he is very concerned about what he's saying because he's dropping the dime on the CIA, and it's a CIA whistleblower. Deej, what did you hear? Am I reading his body language right, or what did you think? Because I got the impression that dude was pretty scared.
Yeah, he's pretty concerned. He's like, I have something I have to say. I know what it means for me saying it, but I'm here. Let's lay it out there. Yeah, that was actually pretty interesting to watch.
Tunney, what did you think of that, man?
I agree. I mean, there was a lot of hesitation, but at the same time, I mean, I don't want to. I mean, is there acting there though?
I didn't get that from him. I don't know what DJ got from him.
I don't think there is, but like you can. There's a
line, and I think he was concerned about crossing that line as he went along on that thing.
No, right. Either that's it or he's acting, right? Like one of the two. That's the line I'm talking about.
Right. I don't know. I know that that's the first time like a CIA whistleblower has come forward like that. I know the director of the CIA said that of course the guy wasn't authorized to be making any representations and it's all bullshit. But as you know, today, Tulsi Gabbard for DNI, she resigned. Now, she resigned because her husband got diagnosed with a rare form of cancer, that sort of thing. But still, that's going to be a big shakeup over on that side of the fence. And I want to tie this together with one of the whistleblowers, Dylan Borland, went up last week into Oregon. And they had the McMinnville UFO festivals up there. And McMinnville is, of course, one of the most famous UFO pictures of all time, was taken back in 1950. And they have a festival there every year. Dylan, who, I've messaged Dylan. He had a very good message as this thing. And I think it's important to listen to what he had to say, because when you hear what he says, it's like, well, the UFOs are an interesting thing, but they're tangential. They're running parallel to one of the bigger issues that's involved here. And so I want to pull up what Dylan had to say here so you guys can hear this, because I think it's important. And this ties in with the Jeremy Corbell documentary and all that sort of stuff. But let me get this up here.
Dylan is kind of freeballing it. Dylan's saying, he is, he's saying, I have to be so careful, but there's a reason why I brought Dylan in, and I just want to give you insight, if I can, real quickly about what that's like. Congress will tell me there's a hearing coming, and then I'll say, good luck, what do you need? I'll hear nothing. And then all of a sudden, I get a panicked phone call. It's supposed to be in 3 days. I'm like, what are you talking about? This is how it works. And then I'm like, okay, so you give me 3 weeks, and you will have firsthand people. Who do you need? What do you need? And then I put them through the ringer. Dylan did it with me twice. Just like, can he talk publicly? So I'm literally on these video calls every damn day for 2.5 months sometimes prior to a hearing. And it's like there's these national security spooks, there's people recording the calls. And I said, sure, I'm recording it too. They're like, that's illegal. I go, okay. You're recording it. You're a federal agent. You work for me. I record every fucking call, and I told him. So here's the deal. Dylan's going through this process. He has no idea if he's going to testify. What is his life going to be like? And guess what? Like George and I were supposed to testify with 12 videos out of the 46 you're about to see, they say, which I believe, and they stymied us, and we weren't able to show you those videos. So with Dylan, it's like, he had, what, was it 4 days? I called you 4 days before.
Yeah, so we had gone through the process. It was, the other people were selected, and I was kind of...
Maybe.
Yes, for that whole
Is
time.
it dangerous what you're gonna say?
No, it's...
no, that's what they were thinking.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Not Congress, by the way. Rep. Luna, Rep. Burchett, Rep. Burleson, they are fighting for you. They are pushing for you. Yeah, I don't care about politics. I don't care about that. They are fighting for you. So the whole thing with Dylan is 4 days before, they're like, oh yeah, okay, you can now talk. And it's like, he had no time to prepare. How do you do a Distrollsure in 4 days? You don't.
Well,
you don't.
One quick thing we got to remember too is my attorney for the IG had specifically told me not to talk to Congress, and when I was asked to do it, I said I will talk to Congress, and this goes back to our interview, which I said I have now gone not against my attorney's wishes at the time.
Always go against your attorney's wishes. Just push, push, push. Let's go, motherfuckers.
Yeah, I volunteer to do this. Side note, and you're aware, the big thing with me, look, you guys and every human being in America holding their country responsible and making sure they're accountable is extremely important. For me, UFOs is the backdrop to government corruption and crimes committed against employees and citizens of the United States. That's why I came forward.
I think that's the important thing to keep in mind on all this stuff. Is the UFOs are fun, they're interesting. It's a revelation, but there's some bigger issues going on here, like this, like the CIA guy, the whistleblower was talking about the dig stuff, right? And Dylan had gone in there and talked to, or Dylan and Matthew Brown had both talked to these guys. And those confidential conversations that took place in a skiff were leaked to Jeremy Corbell. So they leaked this stuff and they told them about what had been talked about in there, and they accused these guys of being spies, anti-Semitic, engaging in treason, engaging in espionage, and all that stuff is like, I mean, Dylan talks about it in the interview there that, and the full episode came out earlier today, but he's talking about how there's no statute of limitations for treason or for espionage. So, 50 years from now, he could be charged with this sort of stuff. But I think that the reason why I played that stuff for you guys is because here's the thing. Like Tunney was asking some stuff earlier, and I'm thinking like with the numbers that DJ's talking about, with 1 billion people tuning in, and we're going to get to the aspect of this where we do get to the Distrollsure part of this thing and why I think this is a troll job. You got to look at the administration and look at it from the standpoint of why would they be compelled? Can you guys think of any reason why they would be compelled right now to start disclosing this information? Where would the pressure be coming from? Because we've always talked on this show, it's about money, power, and control, right? And disclosing any of this stuff on any sort of meaningful aspect, you whittle away that money, that power, and control. So why would they be motivated to do this for real? And I think of like one of 3 reasons, right, that this could actually be going on. One is they think another foreign country is going to disclose first. And they're like, oh shit, okay. China's going to do this. Russia's going to do this. We better jump on this thing. The problem with that is that since this stuff came out, yes, DJ, while you were stepped away, we watched a video from Ukraine that looked kind of interesting. Japan says, hey, we might talk about this too. But you don't hear Russia or China making a peep about this shit. They don't care. If this stuff was remotely real, or they thought that there's something real was being disclosed, like you've mentioned it, DJ, on this show, like we think that they're all working together, that sort of thing, Russia and China would come forward and do their own thing. The fact that they are completely silent tells me, well, it's not that. They're not concerned that these other nations are going to be coming forward. That's not the motivation. The second option on this whole thing is that they're afraid that the phenomenon itself is going to reveal itself. Now, maybe not, but how would they know that? And that if they know that, that assumes that there's some sort of understanding and agreement with the phenomenon as well. So I don't think it's that. The third option for actual true disclosure would be that this war in Iran has revealed a fundamental flaw in certain things as far as like our reliance on oil, where this little country can stand up to the biggest superpower in the world and maybe not win, but make things difficult enough that it really fucks up the world economy because we're so reliant on oil. And maybe at this point, they've finally got the structure in place that they can say, hey, we've got a different energy source that we've got here, 0 point energy. Let's get into this war to show everybody just how fucked up the whole oil reliance situation is. And now we can introduce this other energy form, but we have to kind of explain where it came from. So let's start disclosing things a little bit at a time. Absent any of those 3 reasons being plausible, then I think that this is all just smokescreen, mirrors, and a troll job. And they're just fucking with us. And they're just trying to do things, and today on Doomer Friday, Andy McGrillen from that UFO podcast had an interesting theory, why this slow drip? Why aren't we just releasing all this stuff at once? There's a third drop that's going to be coming in the next few weeks. And Andy was like, to get as many people tuning in as they can and then just debunk the whole thing, right? And DJ, you're talking 1 billion people are tuning in. More people are going to tune in for this next drop. You'll be up to 2 billion. who are saying, what's going to happen next with this third one? Tunney, you mentioned The Boys. What if this whole thing is like one of these streaming TV series where they keep dropping a little bit, building up to it, building up to it? You're going to get to the series finale, and they're either going to debunk everything or they're going to disclose the reality of the situation. Me personally, I think this is all bullshit. I haven't seen anything that's compelling in any of this. I'm going to show a couple of things at the very end of this thing from today that are a little bit more compelling. But beyond that, I'm just like, this feels like horseshit to me. This is all a troll job. It's smoke and mirrors. That's why I call this Distrollsure, because it is a troll job being disguised as disclosure, but that's not really what's going on. I mean, before I turn it over to you guys, Trump comes out right after all this shit comes down, right? He pulls out this meme, and I'll pull it up for you guys. It's him walking with an alien.
Aliens, we know they're there. Aliens.
So he's got an alien. He's walking with this alien. The alien's in chains, right? And Trump's walking next to him. And it's like, somebody was saying like, well, he's trying to communicate with us. Like, communicate what? That we're superior to these beings? That,
we already have an alien for a president, Dave.
Well, that may be true. I'm not disputing that.
No.
But,
I'm just being.
But I mean, when these files came out, he didn't say anything serious. All the stuff they've released, they haven't told us one thing about what they think this is. Trump comes out and says, here's the files, and his words exactly, have fun. Fuck is that? I turn it over to you guys. Now, I mean, this is the legit or bullshit part of this, and I'm firmly on this is all bullshit. This is not disclosure. This is bullshit. I think we are being trolled completely. Nothing I saw today even, that I will show you guys in a minute, changes my mind about any of this stuff. It's all like Dylan says, this is all about corruption. It's all about bullshit. It's just, sorry, I'll stop. Go ahead, guys. I could rant for a while longer, but I want to hear what you guys have to say.
Go ahead, Tunney.
We love the aliens. They're great. They're here.
Dynamite drop in there, Monty. Those broadcasting lessons are.
It's all, The thing I was going to touch on when you stopped me earlier in the thing was, are they going to just kind of slow roll until they give you something that you think you want, but it's really nothing?
They're what I just,
right? And that's
what I said, right?
And that's the concern. To say, go ahead, have fun. Well, yeah, like it's nothing we didn't already know. And that's what got released, right? Like we're speculating on a couple of documented conversations and some footage that has zero depth and not a lot of perspective to it as well. So, I mean, we'll see.
Deej, what do you think,
I think it comes back to control. The best way to control a populace is to give them just enough of what they think they want. And you don't release that all at once, because when you do that, you've lost the control. And while they can release it in doses, it's like any other drug. It's like when you go to your dealer doesn't give you all of it all at once. They give you a little bit, and they give you a discount on the little bit the first couple times you use it. Oh, stop. So then every time you keep going back, and that's how they keep you coming back. They keep the control by dropping you just enough to keep you going, so you keep wanting more and you keep fiending for it. I agree with you, Dave. There's absolutely nothing that's been released that I've seen from the first set, what I'm going to see from the second set, that leads me to believe that they're going. Let me be clear on what I'm about to say, that they're going to reveal anything compelling. Does that change my stance on what I believe? No. In the grand scheme of what we're talking about? No. But I believe that the government, if they have anything, they're not going to release it. They're certainly not going to release it all at once.
Since Mike agreed with DJ and I think maybe the most compelling thing was the audio where the three of us, sorry, Dave, thought that these controllers had heard reports like this before and were kind of going through what they were told to do since they had heard them before. And we kind of brought up those earlier missions, whether it was just robotics or human flighted.
And we've talked about on this show before, I can't remember what episode it was, but we had another thing where Dave played some audio. And again, it was either some audio or it was like a transcript. But again, it was like, it was one of the airline flights. One of the flights saw something while he was up there, and they're like, oh, really, another one? And we're like, what do you mean another one?
So, if anything, I want to encourage people to go back and listen to the Kenneth Arnold episode, because we make a really good, propelling, maybe more than any other argument we've made for why he had no reason to lie about what he was saying. And that really stuck with me when you were briefing us on everything in the beginning of the show.
Right. And I mean, to me, what really bugs me, one of the things that bugs me the most is that a lot of the representatives, like Representative Burleson, Burchett, they all kind of said with the second drop, there would be videos in there that were very clearly not UFOs or UAPs, that they were like they would be easily debunked. And my problem with that is like, if you're, and if I was in the military, I'd be pissed off right now, because if it's like, if you're putting videos out there and you're labeling them unidentified anomalous phenomenon, but you've already identified them, then what the fuck are we doing? Isn't that a lie? Isn't that corruption? Isn't that another example of, I mean, all this kind of shit, the same old stuff?
And yet we talk about the protection thing too, right? Like, we don't know enough and they do, and we shouldn't, right? Like, and not to just keep bringing that up as like a failsafe for the government or the people who are controlling, but there is a chance there too, right? If everything we know is as impeding upon as it could be.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. That's for sure. But let me close off. I did want to show you guys two of the videos that came out today that I think they're the two that I saw. I mean, there's a whole big 160 pages of a document from Sandia from the late 40s talking about fireballs and things that they were observing, that the guy, you can read through it, and the guy writing it, you can clearly see that he's concerned that this is like Soviet tech. But the problem is, you're talking about stuff flying from the Soviet Union to New Mexico in 15 minutes. And they didn't have anything like that in the 40s. I'm not sure they have anything like that today. So it's 160 pages of documents to read. But one of the videos I wanted to show you today is, it's not new. That's the thing, is this is not a new video, because this actually, Jeremy Corbell, a couple months ago, had shown this thing. And we're only going to watch some of it because it's like 5 minutes of just the same thing shown over and over again. But this is what they've called the instant acceleration video. And I will admit to you guys, this one's got me a little bit stumped. And this one's kind of impressive. I'll play this for you, and let's see what you guys think of this one.
Oh boy. Very ominous cut there.
Nice lead in, Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's flying. I mean, we're turning right hard.
Just watch.
Yeah.
Well, that thing was gone.
Tic Tac.
So now,
okay.
So they're going to show it a couple more times. So now they've outlined it a little bit.
Like Tic Tac maneuver, as far as what we've talked about, right?
Right. Right.
Same kind of dimension change from the earlier video with the same kind of thing happening.
Yeah, when you go to the different perspective and then it's out of there.
You see it
Interesting.
with a little bit spread apart, and then
now they're going to drop it. Yeah, they're dropping it to 50% speed here. But watch this. Like you guys said, that thing's gone. Now, I will stop that there because we don't need to watch it at slower and slower speeds. But I think one of the ones that I heard people say is that, the camera stopped tracking it. That's why it looked like it sped off. I didn't see that. I didn't see the camera stop tracking it before it took off.
It could be, but it didn't.
But even if it did, would it move that fast off screen?
No, I guess we're going to keep chasing our tails as long as grainy, pixelated video like this keeps coming out. And unfortunately, until we get a good quality video, it's going to be okay. They stopped moving the camera. It's perspective. It's context. It's, like I said, we're not having intelligent discussions, and that bothers me, because I know, especially on this show, we're capable of having this discussion.
Are we the general public around Clark Kent right now? and because the glasses are on, we just can't see Superman? Do you know what I mean? Does that make any sense at all?
It does. It does. Let me play the last video for you guys, and we'll cut out of here. Because Tunney, you mentioned the shoot down stuff that was going on, right? So this is actually a video from Lake Huron in 2023, where they shot down something, and you think, okay, it's just a shoot down, but then something kind of weird happens at the end of this thing. And I didn't notice it the first time, but I'm going to play it for you guys here.
Huron, Erie, Ontario, Superior.
Yeah, this is up in your neck of the nape.
Michigan, the Great Lake.
Takes a couple minutes or not.
They are great, by the way.
Okay. So I'm looking at this thing and I'm thinking right away, okay, that is clearly a balloon. Because you could see the shape of the balloon. Okay, now it gets blown up, but look at this.
It's a girl.
What is this white?
It was a gender reveal.
Right. What is this orb that they lock on after this thing gets blown away?
Placenta. Sorry. Okay, I didn't. All show I held back. Sorry, I get one.
That's kind of weird. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like
weird, but not overly.
No. But I mean, it's like, well, okay, they shot down a balloon and then something was there afterwards. But I mean, that's kind of. I mean, there's other stuff that. I mean, there's other. I mean, what was the other one? I guess this one. This one's worth watching. I guess just I'll show you because it's like 9 seconds, so it's pretty short. But and this one was shown all over the place. But
As long as a non-main event match on WrestleMania.
yes. So you got boats, and it's like, well, something's hauling ass through there on the bottom, right? I'll play that. Let me play that back.
Look like a dragon.
Stop it.
No, look at
those. Kind of look like it does kind of look like a dragon.
It actually does kind of look like a dragon.
Come on, bruh. Holy shit. There we go.
We had a real dragon sighting here on Unidentified History.
There it is. We're tying this all together.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, that's kind of like the greatest hits from the file drop sort of thing. There's not a whole lot there. I mean, some of it's interesting. I think like we talked about the Gemini recording, the triangular picture on the moon from Apollo 17 was very interesting. We don't have a good answer for that. The sudden acceleration video we just watched, we don't have a good answer for that. There's stuff in the documents that it's interesting but not compelling. Is that a fair statement?
Yes. And like I said, the historical dive on this is fascinating as hell.
Yeah. Right. And that's kind of what this show it likes to target in on is the historical aspect of things. And I mean, it's all important. And I do think maybe the most important thing of this is what you touched on a little while ago, what I've touched on as well, what Tunney's touched on. With 1 billion people tuning into this thing, there's clearly interest in this thing. And I don't think that if they're trying to run a program where they're just going to build this up and then debunk it in the hopes that people will go away, I don't think that's going to work out so well for them. Because I think the interest in this topic has never been higher. People know that there's something going on. They don't know what. Even if this is all just black tech, it's all advanced tech, people still want to know about that. And I think, that this is something where you're not going to be able to put this genie back in the bottle, but maybe you can dress the genie up a little bit differently. And maybe that's what they're trying to do.
Maybe.
Tunney, you got anything? Any final thoughts?
Not really. Not any more than we already had. We touched on a whole different slew of things and different ranges of topics. But when it comes down to it, like it really is almost like show me the body. You know what I mean?
So you're firmly in Neil's camp.
I'm not, but it's kind of grotesque to say that too. That's kind of how I felt about it. But yeah, we're getting there. It's interesting. It's interesting because not only are we trying to figure this out, we also have to figure out the game that's being played around us, and that makes it so difficult to navigate. And that's why it's fun to have these kind of shows. These shows are so easy to have because the conversation is so easy to dispute.
But like you said, figure out the game because it is a game. It absolutely is a game. We just don't know the rules quite yet. So we're not the game master. We're not even the dungeon master. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for sitting in with me and going through all this stuff. I hope you found it kind of interesting. Now you're up to speed. You know all the stuff that's in the files. And now DJ can say, I didn't need to know any of that stuff. But, you did. But now you're fully informed. Before I let you guys out of here.
Now look into my pen as we flash your memory.
Go. I forgot it all. I should have forgotten it all. DJ, let people know what's going on with your shows and what all is happening and where they can reach you for social media, beer tips, all that fun stuff.
You want to find me on the app formerly known as Twitter. You can look me up at the Mindless Pod co-host, I should say, the Mindless Wrestling Podcast with Jason and Rob. We air usually every Saturday on all your favorite podcasting platforms. I also have my own solo show, 30 Mindless Minutes. I have different guests every week talking about different walks of life. Last weekend, had my girlfriend on. She and I talked about our trip to Welcome to Rockville and Daytona. This week, as Tunney mentioned earlier.
How was that?
It was good. It wasn't the best of the 5 we've done. We did get some rain, which kind of sucked. A few of the bands that we wanted to see either got rained out or rescheduled to a time that we just couldn't watch. You can go listen to the episode, Dave. We talk about all that.
Yeah.
Okay. Just like I'm encouraging our listeners to do. But yeah, you can find me there if you're so inclined. The Mindless Wrestling Podcast is not only on YouTube, but we are on Facebook. I'm in the process of updating a lot of stuff over to the Mindless brand. So the branding on those things may change a little bit as I kind of put it all under one umbrella underneath the Chairshot Radio Network.
Tunney, where can people check you out at?
YouTube, here, at Chairshot Media, at PC Tunney. That's about it. You know, I just like to hang out with these guys.
That's fine. I appreciate that, Tunney. You are the man. I appreciate you guys immensely. As far as me, if you want to interact with me, then by all means, go to, there it is, attitudeofaggression.com. And that's the best place to go for the website. I know Tunney taught me how to do the text features on the show. I just actually have to remember doing them. So
now you get that branding behind your screen and you're good to go.
I do need to work on that, don't I?
Holler at me.
You're right. Well, yeah, I need the background and all that fun stuff. And then you won't have to look at the light fixture behind me anymore.
Well,
but no, go to attitudeofaggression.com. I need to actually put the YouTube channel on here as well so people can
just put
check
that
out.
Green Day poster right behind you.
It was right behind me.
You put it like in where your camera is.
No, I do. I just need to like, I got a Close Encounters poster. I got a whole bunch of like Star Wars, Darth Vader things. I should actually make my wall look a little bit better than rather than use these backgrounds. But anyway, attitudeofaggression.com. Go to the YouTube channel, Attitude of Aggression's YouTube channel. Of course, go to thechairshot.com. Check out all the stuff we've got going on over there. As for this show, I mean, right now we're a week away from Contact in the Desert. So we're not going to get to Antarctica before Contact happens. Got Contact in the Desert, Lou Elizondo's events coming up in LA. So probably talk about those on the next couple shows. But we are going to get to Antarctica. We are going to get to Roswell. Roswell will be a big one, especially since we talked so much 1947 today. But guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Unidentified History. I am eternally grateful to you, gentlemen. It is always a pleasure to podcast with you, talk about all this stuff and try and figure out what's going on. But until next time, you know, guys, all I can say is do the research and make up your own mind about what's going on in this stuff, because that is the main thing with this show, with Unidentified History. Read the information, do your own research, make up your own mind. We'll catch you next time. Until then, so long, everybody.